Let's see. Darren, Miami. You're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hey, Mr. Wilkow, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Okay, listen, hopefully you can just list me out real quick, but doing some research, and you're a big fan of, hey, this is not in the Constitution, that's in the Constitution, and I talked to some law professors. The term immigration does not exist in the Constitution. The term naturalization has nothing to do with immigration. You keep using immigration like there's some kind of constitutional standard of immigration, and I don't quite understand that. Show me in the Constitution where it says immigration as a term in the Constitution.
So what you're saying is the federal government, we have no right as a society to have a border.
Okay, you're making the liberal argument now by saying just because it's not in there, we can make the claim.
No, I can make that. Okay, hold on. Article 4, Section 4, United States Constitution. Would you like me to read it to you?
Yes.
The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion.
Yes.
So what would you call people coming crossing a border of a sovereign nation without that nation's permission? What would you call that?
I find it interesting that you want to use the tools against others by saying that word is not in the Constitution, but the term immigration, you're reading into terms by saying we're guaranteeing you a Republican form of government. Whether somebody comes in or not, out or not, still it's a Republican form of government.
No, you're missing the second part of that, sir. Darren, you're missing the part about invasion. Mass amounts of people crossing the border of a sovereign nation without that nation's permission is the very definition of an invasion.
Well, unfortunately, now you're talking about legal semantics. You're not talking about the term immigration that's embedded in the Constitution.
So what you're saying is we are not a sovereign nation.
Well,
Darren, go back to your law school professor friends to get this one. If we have no border, we have no sovereignty. Are your law professor friends going to tell you that this is not a sovereign nation?
Well, the argument is then the states themselves are required to set up the immigration standards, not the federal government. There is no federal auspice for the government itself.
If the federal border, if the border into the Union, no, you're 100% wrong. If the border to the Union of States is to be protected by the federal government, that means at the border, that is federal responsibility. Law enforcement on the interior, Darren, be quiet and let me finish. The law enforcement on the interior is the responsibility of the states. That is entirely constitutional.
There is no there's no Supreme Court precedent.
Darren, don't fall for that trick, and I won't. The fact that there's no Supreme Court, let me go back. Do me a favor. Go back to your genius law school professor friends and ask them this very simple question: does the Supreme Court have the power to interpret the Constitution?
No, they don't, and I would agree with you. They do not.
Okay, so what constitutes a nation if not for a border, sir?
I am agreement with you, and I understand that. All I'm saying is you use a tactic which says...
No, I'm not using a tactic, sir. No, I'm not using a tactic, sir. The fact is, if there's a border, those that are not citizens, meaning people not born in the nation, not constituting that nation, people on the other side of that border, for them to cross that border constitutes an invasion, sir.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does. What? Define invasion. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Darren, define invasion for me. Define invasion.
Invasion is when a hostile force against the United States tries to take over and use force against the United States.
No, that's. Go look up. No, go ahead. Go look that up in the dictionary, sir, and get back to me. Thank you very much for the call. So what you're saying is, if I come into your house in the dead of night, but I'm not marching under a flag, and I'm not armed with the intent of capturing your home, I'm just in there for the purpose of residing, that I'm not invading your home? That's ridiculous. Find some better law school friends or law school professors. What kind of idiot law school professor would say that? Oh, no, a nation has no right to set up an immigration system. That's not in the Constitution. Really? Because that whole thing about protecting the nation from invasion is the very nature of immigration law.